Hi, Rama. It's week 36, day 2 of our Bible narrative reading plan. Today we're in Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 1, we finally made it to the New Testament, and we know that this obviously follows the Old Testament, but don't forget that in between the end of the book of Malachi and the opening pages of the New Testament, that approximately 400 years of silence have taken place. Israel has had history during this time. Obviously, things have happened. You can read about Jewish history. Some of it you have books about that other Bibles, the Catholic Bible, would include some of these books. We call the Apocrypha, things that we do not include in our scriptures. We don't believe are inspired in the same way that the 66 books of our Bible are inspired by God. But you can find books that tell you about this time period, that things did happen in Israel's history. But it's been over 400 years since they've heard a word from the Lord, since God has spoken through his prophets. And so as we begin in Luke chapter 1, we are introduced to the last Old Testament prophet, the last Old Covenant prophet, John the Baptist. Now, we begin in Luke 1. You see the opening verses of Luke's book. He gives us his introduction. He is writing this book. He's been commissioned by a man named Theophilus, which means friend of God. It also means loved by God. And so Theophilus, we believe, probably was a rich man who commissioned Luke to write this book. And notice that Luke is saying he's taken great efforts, making great details. He's talked to eyewitnesses. He's consulted the history that was available at that time. And he's giving an orderly account. He's giving a truthful and accurate account of the birth of Christ and the life of Christ. And so Luke begins not with Christ, but with this last Old Testament prophet, John the Baptist. And we see his prophecy foretold. You can read that there in verses 5 through 25. And notice parallel to that, following in verses 26 through 38, you have the prophecy of Jesus' birth. So you have these two prophecies, John the Baptist and then Jesus. And then that's followed where the stories merge because Mary goes to visit with Elizabeth. Elizabeth is her cousin. And so these two storylines, these two families interact here. They're interwoven in Luke's text. And when Mary visits with Elizabeth, the Bible tells us that the child Elizabeth is carrying leaps inside her womb. And so John the Baptist is already prophesying about who Jesus is. And then you have, starting in verse 46, the Magnificat. That's the Latin word that this passage, this song of praise that Mary offers here. The Latin word beginning the passage in Latin would be, "My soul magnifies the Lord." That's where Magnificat comes from. And so it's a wonderful prayer, a wonderful song that Mary offers. And then we see the actual birth of John the Baptist. And that's told about, and it's followed up by his father, Zechariah. As you read the story, you understand that he's been mute for quite a while, but now he's able to speak again, and he also praises the Lord. So there's a lot of symmetry in this opening chapter of Luke, the two prophecies of these two sons, the difference between these two sons. Their stories interact between their mothers, and then we have two songs praising the Lord for the work that he's done. We're not going to go into great detail. I trust that the text will speak for itself as you read through it. But it's a reminder that even after 400 years of silence, God has not forgotten his people. He's continuing to work in their midst, and he's going to send them the Savior that he has promised for many generations before. Here's a summary of today's reading. For more information, go to tunemyheart.org.